Right. Good evening. Good morning. Can you still hear me,
I
Mr.
can.
Ben?
Yes, I can.
Great, great. So thank you so much, Say, for making time to be with us this evening. It's evening our time. It's morning your time.
That's correct. That's
It
correct.
is such an honor to have you on this August masterclass. I am humbled that you could make time to be with us. I'm honored, and I hope that we'll be able to have a fruitful and meaningful and a noble masterclass.
Excellent.
So, to the people that are joining us, I'm here with Mr. David Banks. He's the president for Noble Success Strategic Group. He's a certified speaker. He's a trainer and coach with John C. Maxwell. He's a success coach. He's a purpose discovery specialist. He's a leadership trainer. Thank you so much to the guests that are going to view this now and also that are going to view a little bit later. Thank you for taking time to be with us. We appreciate you. Would you just want to greet the audience, sir, if it's
Excellent.
okay?
Very good. Definitely. Thank you, Precious, so much for allowing me to be on your platform. And I give greetings from the US,
Thank
around the
you.
world. Thank you so much for viewing this. And as Precious said, I truly believe this will be a very productive and fruitful discussion.
Thank you, sir. So I am excited. I'm ready to learn. So we're just gonna dive in. My first question would be, can you just explain to us a little bit who is David Banks?
Who is David Banks? David Banks is a person that is passionate about living and
Mm-hmm,
truly feel like my purpose is to impact and empower people to succeed from within
mm-hmm,
so that they can live out their destiny on the earth. So I truly believe I am an agent of change on
mm-hmm,
this earth to really help people to succeed in their lives, to really help them to understand their purpose and
mm-hmm.
really walk out their lives successfully.
Wow, that's amazing. So how has that been so far? I mean, just trying to encourage people to find purpose. How has that been?
Oh, it's been great. I think, Precious, when I share with them, I always ask questions first. I ask, how are things in your life? And a lot of people have really stuck in where they are in their life. I'm at a dead end job. I'm really not successful. I'm really not fulfilling my life. And it just really helps me to help them to understand, all right, if you are not satisfied where you are, you can choose to determine where you want to go. So it's been very great. It's been a very successful time working with people, not only throughout the US, but in other
Mhm,
countries. So I'm very fulfilled, and it's really helping people to really not allow themselves to just feel like they have to stay stuck in survival mode, but they
mhm,
truly can develop the principles to succeed in their lives.
mhm. That's amazing. And so I'm just thinking, like, especially in the season that we find ourselves in, um, where people are finding it difficult to actually just manage themselves around COVID, picking themselves up, and all sorts of things. Um, how are you finding it? How do you manage to pick them up, still identify their purposes, and still pick themselves up to continue forging? COVID-19 and the lockdowns brought a lot of issues that a lot of people are finding themselves overwhelmed emotionally. A lot of people are being forced to do a lot of things. How do you manage to navigate it?
Oh, excellent. Well, I set it up like this. Precious, most people are really stuck in a situation because mentally, subconsciously, they really would love for things to be back the way they were in 2019 because
Mhm,
that's what they were familiar with. But also, people are really fearful about the future. They don't really know how this COVID is going to end up. So most people are really stuck with wanting to go back to the way they were familiar with, but also afraid of the future. So I really see people are at a very pivotal point in their lives. And I really believe what I can bring to them is to really give them some principles and insights to get them out of that situation of being stuck. So I think this is a very opportune time for success coaches to really help people really navigate through this. There's a lot of things that is going on a lot in the world, but it is important for people to understand they still can design their own future.
That's true. People can still pick themselves up. People can still design their future.
Exactly.
So well done. I think you really are onto something, and there's such a huge need for what you are offering at the moment. My second question would be, what has been your entrepreneurial journey this far? Are you an entrepreneur? How has it been this far?
Yes, being an entrepreneur, as you said, it is a journey. It is a process. I've enjoyed it tremendously. As anyone, when you're starting something, you know, the word of God says, don't despise small beginnings. So I started small, and just really the biggest thing that I can tell any entrepreneur that's listening or getting started, consistency, being consistent. That is the name of the game. How consistent are you? Because as you know, in anything, you have your good months, you have your great weeks, but also you have your tough weeks, your tough months. But learning to stay consistency, being open to change. For years, I had my business where I was doing coaching live. But due to COVID, as an entrepreneur, you got to learn how to pivot. So when COVID came on the scene, I immediately had to pivot to change everything virtually. So since I was familiar with Zoom, and I'm always open to change, I'm always looking for ways to continue to do better. It was easy for me to pivot from doing live sessions to now virtual. So these are some of the things that I've learned along the way being an entrepreneur.
Wow. Wow. And I think you are talking of the issue of consistency here. I think it's a little thing, but it's a very big thing. Little thing, but very important, like small steps that just one day you look back and you can't even believe the steps that you have taken, because then it then adds into this one big ball of success. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened with you being perfected, your character, perfecting the models that you are using in your entrepreneurial journey, and so forth. It's so true. I think consistency then leads to mastery. When you are consistently doing something, you become a master of it.
Very true. I totally agree with that. And I think it's so important, Precious, that when a person is venturing out as an entrepreneur, is making sure that you know what you are wanting to master. I think we try to have the mindset, we want to try to be everything to everybody. That's not what you want to do. You want to really figure out, what can I master, and become a specialist at it. And I think that is so crucial for a person starting out, because we're trying to figure out, well, hey, I'm trying to figure out what people really want, so I can get the funds from that. But I think the best way is really taking the time to master something and really become a specialist at that. And when that happens, opportunities opens up truly left and right.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that part. So my next question would be, are there any challenges you have overcome and any success stories this far?
Oh, yes. All right. Challenges. Oh, that comes with the journey. If you're not having challenges, more than likely you're not making any, you're not taking ground, you're not progressing. Challenging comes with when you are progressing. So several challenges, definitely, like I said, sometimes when things are not going well, um, you're not getting the clients that you need. So that can be very, very challenging. How do you continue to keep advertising to get clients? So that is an ongoing situation and strategy that you have to develop. But I think success, I think really a great success story. I did a purpose discovery virtual training in Nigeria. And that was a wonderful, wonderful experience being able to hear, going through that training and people, emailing me back and saying, Dr. Banks, through that training, I now know what my purpose is. So several success stories such as that have people have come back and say, wow, through this training, I know what my purpose is in life. So that's a tremendous, tremendous blessing when I see those things happen like that.
Wow. So would you have anything that you can encourage anyone to say if they find themselves feeling stuck or facing any challenges? Is there anything that they can just be able to pick even from your journey? Because I think sometimes people, they get stuck when they face challenges.
Oh, yes, yes. Anytime when a person is facing a lot of challenges, what I always tell them to do is to pause and breathe. Because so many times when a person facing a lot of challenges, those challenges can merely make them feel it's so overwhelming, they can never get through. So I always tell people when you're facing a lot of challenges, just pause for a minute, just pause and breathe. And then I always believe, Precious, the power of writing things down. And this is what I do in my own life. I don't ever tell anyone to do something that I don't live out in my own life. So when I have a lot of challenges that is going on in my life, I take some time and pause and I just breathe. And this is what I do. I write down what are my giants that I'm dealing with? What are some obstacles that I'm dealing with? So I spend some time writing those things down. Next thing that I do is I take the time, Precious, to write down, even though I'm going through all these challenges, what are some things that's going well? So many times we're focusing on the 1, 2, 3 obstacles in our lives that we forget there are some little successes. There are some things that you can be grateful about as well. So I always take the time and write down what is going well. And Precious, I've been doing this for over 10, 15 years. I always, when I do that, the things that's going well always outnumbers whatever the obstacles are. I could have 2 or 3 major obstacles that I'm facing, but when I really take the time and find out what's going well, I come up 15 to 20, 25. So what that does, it puts things in perspective. And see, that's what you have to do to be a successful entrepreneur. You got to put things in perspective. Now, I see these challenges that I'm dealing with, but I'm also seeing what is going well. So I'm just putting it in perspective. It's just like when when you are in an airplane, when you're on the ground, you can see a truck, that's, 18-wheeler truck. But when you're in the air looking down and see an 18-wheeler truck, it's not as massive. Still the truck, but just how you're looking at it. So those are some things that I do to really help when I'm going through. And then the third thing is, all right, here are the challenges. Here's what's going well. Now, what am I going to do? It always comes back because whatever you're not doing, you're worrying about. All right, I'm going to say that again. Whatever you are not doing, you are spending most of your time worrying about the situation. And as long as you're not putting any action into what you are dealing with, you are basically wasting time worrying about it. So after I write down my obstacles, write down what I'm grateful about, what's going well, and then what are some strategies? What can I do in this situation? So I spend a lot of time focusing on what can I do. Now, whenever I get to the point where I can't do anymore, then I truly, I'm a man of faith, so I have to put my faith in God to help me with the rest. But I think that is a crucial principle. If you are not doing anything to deal with your situation, you're spending a lot of time worrying about it.
Wow. And I think sometimes as a people, it becomes such a comfort zone to worry over situations, and worrying about it is not going to solve the situation or the circumstance.
Exactly. Very much so.
It's actually time consuming when you look at it. But sometimes, so how do you now define between the two, processing things through and allowing God to speak to you, and worrying over an issue?
Well, like I said, one of the most powerful things that I have done in my life, and I share with others, when you worry in your mind, worry can magnify a problem. So as long as you're sitting there worrying about it in your mind, that problem becomes magnified. So I always tell people, whatever you're worried about, write it on a piece of paper. And anything you're worried about, guess what? It can fit on one line on a piece of paper. So I try to help people understand, let's write down what you're worried about. Let's put it on a piece of paper and take a look at it. Because as long as it's in your mind, it's always going to magnify thinking that it's bigger than it really is. So writing it down is a powerful element, and then take a look at it and always use the rule of, first of all, what can I do about it? What can I do about it? Put forth that effort. Faith without works is dead. So what can I do about it? So anytime when you're facing a problem, two things you always got to do. You got to be willing to put forth action, and you got to believe. The power of belief. So when you put those two things together, 9 times out of 10, whatever you are dealing with, you're going to get through it because you're putting your effort in and you are believing as well. So it's almost you become a team to deal with whatever you're needing to deal with.
Wow. Thank you so much. Then my next question is, I see that you are a purpose expert. What is purpose, and how do you define it? How can it be more meaningful to people on a day-to-day basis? Is it something that you strive to? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Purpose. My mentor was Dr. Miles Monroe. Mm-hmm. He was a wonderful mentor in my life. I had a chance to meet him in 2010. He came to our city, and years ago, he wrote the book, In Discovery of Purpose. And that has really changed my life, helping and understanding purpose. So the definition I define purpose is the original reason for your existence. Mm-hmm. The original reason. Everything that's created in the earth first comes from purpose. One of the principles that I always share, before a product is developed, the purpose of it is discovered first. Nothing, that's a universal purpose. Nothing is created and then they ask, why did we create this? A television or a computer. They didn't create the computer and then say, why did we create this? Everything is created first with purpose. Why? Because in order for a product to be developed, it needs the ingredients of the purpose to create the product. Mm-hmm. So I am a firm believer that when you don't know your purpose, you're setting your life up to either be dysfunctional or live a life of disorder. Because when you don't know the reason why you exist, you're not going to be at your best. You look at the animal kingdom. The animal kingdom, they know their purpose. An eagle is not trying to be like anybody else. The eagle knows the purpose of why it exists. The plant kingdom, a rose. A rose is not trying to be a lily or a carnation. The rose knows its purpose. So when you look at the animal kingdom, when you look at the plant kingdom, they all know their purpose. That's why they can live and continue to be fulfilled in their lives. Humans are the only species really struggle with knowing why they exist. So I truly believe I'm an agent of change in the earth to really help people take the time to discover their purpose. Because your purpose, I always tell people, I don't give you your purpose. I've just learned how to help you discover it.
And if I may just ask again, why would you emphasize the need for people to know their purpose?
Oh, because like I said, if you don't know your purpose, you're not going to live your life to the fullness potential. Mm-hmm. Your purpose allows you to live your life to your full potential. But if you don't know your purpose, you're basically setting yourself up to live in survival mode. All right. You're living in survival mode. You're existing. You just existing. But if you really always say this, everybody knows when they were born. You know, when I speak at a seminar across the world, I ask, when were you born? Everybody's yelling out their birthdays. And then I ask, why were you born? And Precious, it's sad to say most people don't know why. And I always say this, you enter the world knowing when you were born. That's your birthday. But the quality of how you're going to live in the earth is not determined on when you were born, but knowing why you were born. So when a person takes the time to discover their purpose, their why, their lives totally turns in a whole new trajectory of their life, and they live at a whole nother level.
Wow. Thank you so much. We have guests in attendance. Lindsay, you have been here for a while. Would you have a question for our guests? Lindy? I'm not sure if she can hear us. Isabel, you just joined us. Would you have any question concerning purpose so far?
So far, so good. I'm following.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Thank you for joining in.
Right.
So my next question was just going to be, how is purpose discovered, you know? And the other thing I wanted to ask was that, you know, sometimes when you go into purpose and trying to live your life according to God's design or whatever that inspires you to pursue purpose, it sometimes feels like it comes with a lot of hurdles. You know, I've heard sometimes some people that will say, yo, sometimes I sit in this thing and I ask myself, am I even supposed to do this? You know, so I just wanted to know the balance. How do you balance frustration? How is purpose discovered? How do you stay the course? Because sometimes it comes with a lot of things.
Excellent. Very much so, Precious. Very much so. All right. Years ago, when I started studying purpose, over 20 years ago, as I was researching it, you know, I was looking online and seeing what other people were doing. And a lot of people saying, in order to discover your purpose, the first thing you have to do is find out what you really enjoy doing. Now, Precious, like I said, I'm a man of faith. So I always match up what I'm learning up to the Bible. And then I started thinking about Moses. when Moses understood what his purpose, when God said, Moses, this is your purpose. I want you to deliver the children of Israel out of Egypt. What did Moses say? Moses didn't say, wow, that's great. I've always wanted to be a leader and deliver a million people. Immediately he said, what? I can't do it. I can't do it. You think about the angel coming to Mary and said, Mary, this is what your purpose is. You're going to deliver a man child, and his name is Jesus. What did she say? Oh my goodness, how in the world can I do this? I'm a single virgin teenager. How can I do this? So it's important for people to understand purpose does not start with something you know how to do. Purpose is something that you were called to do. You were called to purpose. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a program that I take people through, so I'll just give you just a sample. I've taken the time over 20 something years and develop a technique of helping people discover their purpose. Mm-hmm. And I've been able to utilize it throughout the world, in Europe, in India, in Africa. So I'll give you one. There is a series of questions because, like I said, your purpose is already inside of you. You were born with your purpose. I don't give you your purpose. Your purpose was instilled inside of you before you were ever born. There are two things when you were born you had inside of you: purpose and potential. Those were two things ingrained inside of everyone. Now, the only way purpose can be awakened, you have to ask questions. Your inward purpose thrives on questions, and you got to know the right questions to ask. And I've learned that. Now, so there are several of them. I'm going to just share one of them. The first question that I ask anyone that wants to discover their purpose, and the question is, what do you see in society that burdens you or grieves you? What do you see in society that burdens you or grieves you? Because your purpose, your inside purpose, is a solution to an outside problem. All right, I'm going to say that again. Your inside purpose is a solution to an outside problem. So most people don't know what their purpose is, but I am trained to find out by figuring out what is an outside problem that burdens you. Now, when most people hear that question, most people always try to answer every question I give them concerning purpose. They try to answer them with their head. I don't want your head to know the answer because your head doesn't know the answer. Your purpose knows it. So 9 times out of 10, when I ask a person, what do you see that burdens you or grieves you? They immediately, their head comes up with an irritation. Now, what is an irritation? Irritation is something that personally bothers you. So if you're driving on the highway, someone is in front of you, they're going slow, that can be an irritation. If you're trying to get somewhere, you're late, someone is in front of you, that's an irritation. I'm not asking for irritation, I'm asking for a burden. So what's the difference between an irritation and a burden? Irritation is something that personally affects you. But a burden is when you see a problem affect someone else. That's what I'm looking for. When you see, I've done this across the world, when I talk to a person and they say, Dr. Banks, it grieves me, it burdens me when I see a child being abused. When I see a child in a home and they're being abused by their mom and dad or a relative or a stranger, that bothers me. I know right there, Precious, we're getting somewhere because that child, that person is not a baby. But when they see children being abused and they see how that abuse affects that child, it bothers them. If you look in the Bible, Matthew 9, it says, when Jesus saw the multitude, when they were scattered, weary like sheep having no shepherd, when he saw how they were being, that bothered him. Jesus wasn't scattered, weary, or like having a sheep having no shepherd, but when he saw the effects of people and the problems they are dealing with, it burdened them. Everybody, Precious, has that inside of them. All right. Everybody has some burden that they see that is affecting somebody else, that is triggering them. That's what I want to find out. When I find that out, we are well on our way to helping them to discover that their purpose.
And you know, I firmly believe also, I agree to what you're saying, that something that really annoys you, you know, something that gets to you occasionally, I feel like you have a solution to that situation, to that burden. When you look at it and you're like, but there's something wrong with this, and you always look at it. So I guess maybe that has been my way of identifying purpose every now and again, that I wish something could be done about this. I see injustice here. I see this happening. And I'm like,
right.
oh, I wish something could really be done. And so you mentioned the part of the inner. So the inner being has to resonate with the outside challenge. That's how I can then be
Exactly.
able to tie in the issue of purpose.
Very much
Then
so.
you mentioned the 7 keys, and I think I just was able to get one. Or maybe you just shared one.
Yes, I'll share another one. I'll share another one. Um, the next thing when it comes to purpose, first you need to identify the problem. What grieves you? All right. Another question, Precious, that I ask people is, what is the population that you are focused on? Every purpose is a solution to a specific problem, but also every purpose is attracted to a certain population. So in my work with people, I start helping them to figure out, where is your focus concerning people. It could be people in general. Sometimes when I ask people, they know without a shadow of a doubt, oh, it's children, Dr. Banks. That is what I am looking for. Other people say it's teens. So I have to kind of help them figure out, where is their purpose directed. Trying to be everything to everybody, Precious, that's just not successful. So I help them to hone in to their certain population that they need to focus on. All right. The third thing, I'll just keep on going, Precious. I'll just keep on going.
Okay.
The third thing that I ask people is, what would you like to say to that group? Because, Precious, every purpose carries a message. All right. Every purpose carries. You think about Dr. Martin Luther King. He had a real passion for injustice. So his message was focused on people that felt had injustice in their life. So every purpose carries a message. So I help people, let's craft your message to that group. So we're shaping and really birthing purpose. First, what's the problem? Second, what's the population? Third, what are they wanting to proclaim? There are 2 more steps. The fourth step, I call it power words. I have a list of power words: motivate, encourage, empower, challenge, impart, renew, revive. I have a whole list of words. And what I have them to do is look at those words, and your purpose will decide the 2 that belong to you, that resonates with you. It's amazing. People are saying, Dr. Banks, how do you do this? I've done this for so many years. I just know how to do it. I'm a great facilitator. I just help guide them. And then the last question is, what do you want the possible outcome to be in that person? What's the outcome? Because the ultimately goal is 2 things. You want to be fulfilled in fulfilling your purpose, but you really want the impact to be in somebody else's life. That's the ultimate goal of purpose. You being fulfilled by having a purpose and activating out of your life, but at the end of the day, you want somebody impacted. Now, there is a purpose code, Precious. There's a purpose code, and the purpose code is set up answer number 4, 2, 3, and 5. Answers number 4, 2, 3, and 5. So the answer number 4 is the 2 power words that I have people to choose. Answer number 2 is the population. Answer to number 3 is the message. And answer to number 5 is the outcome. 4, the power words. 2, population. 3, the message. 5, the outcome. Now, when you put all of that together, answer to number 4, 2, 3, and 5, you come out with a beautiful sentence. So my purpose is to empower and impact people to succeed in their personal and professional life in order for them to be productive and fulfilled. So taking that, how did I come up with that? Answer to number 4, impact and empower. Answer to number 2, people. Answer to number 3, what is my message that I share all over the world? I want to help people to understand they can succeed in their personal life as well as in their professional life. Now, why do I want this to happen? Answer to number 5, because I really want people to be productive and fulfilled in their life. At the end of the day, Precious, that's the ultimate goal, not how much money is in the bank. At the end of your life, you are really wanting to know, was I productive and was I truly fulfilled? So that's how you do it.
Wow. I think, especially around the issue of being productive, it has been something that fascinates me because sometimes you can be busy, but you ask yourself, am I being productive? Because right. I think sometimes we caught up in just the business of things, but are they fruits? Interesting.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
My next question would be in line with a biblical verse that I love dearly, and I just want to hear your perspective over it. So I love the issue of the Tower of Babel when it begins, before people they got proud when they were building the Tower of Babel. You see a people that had a purpose defined. It was clear, their goal was clear, that we want to build a tower that will touch the heavens. And right. I saw a group that had united energy, united soul, spirit, and body, and they had a clear goal to try and build this thing. The motive was wrong, but the energy and the purpose was defined. Would you just want maybe to delve into that a little bit and just maybe help us to unpack why also, if I can throw in a dice there, that the issue of purpose, it also, does it tie in with the issue of the soul, spirit, and body? Does a person have to be united within for them to be able to do something outside? Is there a need for that? And can also the 3 tie into a person being ultimately productive, fruitful, and achieving an outside goal?
Oh, excellent. Very nice question. Yes, I truly believe purpose touch every being in a person's life. We are a spirit, we have a soul, and we live in a body. So your purpose is able to touch all of those things. I love how you phrased it, because anyone knows when they hang around with Dr. Banks, I eliminate the word busy, because people say, Dr. Banks, I look at your schedule. You are in South Africa on a virtual. You're going to be tomorrow night in Trinidad virtual. You're so busy. And I said, no, I'm not busy. I'm productive. And they say, what's the difference? Busyness is basically you're allowing life to dictate to you. So when a person is busy, life is saying, you got to do this, you got to do that. I said, that's busy. Busy is saying life demands is placed upon you and you're becoming a slave to what life wants you to do. But productive is you are in charge. You decide doing this and doing that. So I love that. And I'm so glad we have an audience, because as long as you think I'm so busy in my business, that's not good. You don't want to be busy doing anything, because busy is basically I'm doing a lot of things, but really not accomplishing anything. You want to be more productive. The word productive comes from the word produce, something that you can see. When you go to the grocery store, you see produce, all right? Something you can see that is a finished product. So that's what you want to do as a entrepreneur. You want to be productive. Instead of trying to do a lot of things, learn how to do a few things, but do them successfully. So, as you said, purpose, it really touches every being in your life. It really nourishes your spirit, because that's what you really are. And when you tap into your purpose, knowing that you're doing exactly what you were designed to do on this earth, guess what it does? It brings peace to your soul, your mind, will, and emotions. You're not sitting here thinking, man, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Because worry, that's in your soul. You're worried. Am I doing what I need to be doing? You worried about this or that? When you know your purpose, it truly confirms things in your spirit, but also it brings peace to your soul, because you're not sitting here thinking, am I really doing the right thing? It's peace in your soul. And then your purpose brings health to your body. It brings health to your body, because now you're not doing a whole lot of things. You're doing essential things. So it really encourages you to take care of your health. You're not, because you know, if you're worried, that's going to eventually affect your health. You're in fear, that's going to affect your health. So when a person knows their purpose, like I said, it touches every being in their lives. And it just helps them to just be a well-rounded person.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm just going to go again to the guests that we have online. Isabel, do you have any question thus far for Dr. Banks?
I'm following. It's quite interesting and insightful. Because when we come to this busy thing, it's more like of late, I've been trying to put things together, to put things in place. And it's more like time is not on my side. But then there are times when I get so glued to the WhatsApp, whereby I am responding to messages and I'm chatting, and you'll find out an hour is gone. And what have you actually done? Nothing. So being productive and busy, it's something that has enlightened me. I thank you so much about that, Doc.
Excellent. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Isabel. And Lindy, any contributions thus far, or any questions for the doctor?
I think I am enlightened. The being busy part, being productive. I was literally crying today that I don't have time. This is my dinner. Like, this banana is my lunch, it's my breakfast, and it's my dinner. So the doctor telling me that actually it's not business, it's productive. It makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel so good about myself that everything that I was doing, because it's business and it's work and it's things that has to be done. So I'm not wasting my time, and it's things that will benefit me and my family in the overall. So being told that I'm actually being productive instead of business, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Doctor. We are so enlightened and we have learned a lot from you today.
Excellent. It's truly my pleasure. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you, Lindy. Pauline, you just joined us just now, woman of God. Any contributions this far?
Good evening, good evening. Yes, apologies for joining in late. I was, held up somewhere. But I think I managed to grasp, when he started to wrap up the purpose, those steps, what drives you, the populations and all that. I liked the power words. For me, it's something, it's like a light bulb moment, if I can call it that. We always try to figure out what is it exactly that I'm doing. But those power words for me is something that I'm taking out of this session to say, okay, I renew, I influence, or I impact, or I empower. It will really help me out somewhere in my life. And that's productive, being productive versus being busy. The example that you made, that when you get into a store, you see something tangible. It's not just
Right.
hours going by. You can tick off something at the end of the day. That's powerful for me. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Pauline, thank you.
So I guess my next question before we close, Doc, is that there's a verse that says, "Redeem your time, for the days are evil." And there's another one, I think, in the Old Testament that talks about the sons of Issachar knew the seasons, or they understood time. And so I just wanted you to maybe elaborate that, especially around the issues of being productive and also the issues of being busy. And how then do we tie in? How do we discern that what we are doing is going to be fruitful? How do we have the tenacity to actually say, to stay the course, and also maybe fully aware that in line with time? And I think Lindy spoke into that also, that sometimes she also finds herself busy and she's asking family time and things like that. How do we tie in that component of time, being productive, discernment, and achieving what we are supposed to achieve, and staying the course of the purpose that we are supposed to run and live in?
Excellent. Well, concerning time, Precious, I think so many people continue to fantasize and keep saying, I wish I had more time, or they procrastinate and think they have a whole lot of time. So I am on your broadcast today to remind people, you need to stop both of those. You need to stop wishing you had more time, and you definitely need to stop procrastinating, thinking you have more time than you originally think you have. Time is of the essence right now. We don't have time to be wasting. So as you said, with the sons of Issachar, we have to understand right now, time is precious. There are too many things that we've just procrastinated. Oh, I'll write that book later. Oh, I'll start this business later. You really need to get out of the I'll do it later, and you really need to use your time wisely now. It is crucial that people understand the importance of being wise with their time. So it's not a moment to lose anymore. I think it is important that we use this year, 2021. If you do not know your purpose, you need to make sure that you don't leave this year without knowing your purpose. Because the way I see things going, if you don't know your purpose, because your purpose positions you to move to your destiny. And your destiny is set before COVID came around, before problems came around. So that's why I am really using every platform that I have and yelling to the top of my voice, Precious, it is time for people to know their purpose, because see, your purpose will position you to your destiny. So your destiny was defined before you ever created. So God already knew your destiny even before COVID came. So when you know your purpose has the power to help you progress through any issues to get you to your destiny. But if you don't know your purpose, you could easily get swept away with whatever is happening in society, whatever's happening in the world. And it grieves me to hear so many people right now having COVID, dying from COVID. One of Miles Monroe, my mentor, said the most priceless, valuable place on the earth is in the graveyard. So many people kept procrastinating. They didn't write their book. They didn't start their business. They died with all of that inside of them. And that's hurting society. So it behooves me to help people understand this is the time now. If you really want to survive COVID and all of the things that's going to come after COVID, you really need to find what your purpose is, because like I said, your purpose positions you to help you to reach your destiny. And it helps you and it gives you the power to maneuver through issues and obstacles. So let's not continue to waste time anymore or thinking that we have a whole lot of time. We don't. It's important to really find out where you are supposed to be positioned in the earth and get in that position. Only you can be positioned in there. No one else can take that. So if you don't ever get it, it's just an empty space. So it is imperative that the beautiful people of Africa, South Africa, and around the world find your purpose, because that will position you for you to be able to stand the test of time when all of these things are coming against us in the world.
Wow, thank you so much. And one more question that I would ask then would be, I think somewhere in Genesis should be the early chapters, it talks about having dominion, multiplication, and subduing the earth.
That's right.
And then in the New Testament, it talks about occupy until I come. So how does that denote to purpose? How is that relevant, especially now, bearing in mind that we actually don't have time as we used to think that we have? We wanted to procrastinate things. And how do we know that it's also a good idea that we are pursuing? And I think in Romans, one of my favorite scriptures, it talks about the whole world, the whole earth actually is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. Would you just delve into that conversation for us, please?
Oh, beautiful. Oh, man, Precious, you're saying every scripture that I love. So yes, Genesis 1:26, when God said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness, and let him have dominion. Dominion is in our DNA. Dominion is a part of your purpose. Whatever your purpose is, it gives you the authority to have dominion over it. So that's why it is so important that we step into our original design, because we spend so much time, Precious, dealing with our past. I was a counselor a number of years ago before I moved over being a success coach. So many people are still struggling with what they have been through. And I tell people, your purpose is only what you've been through. It doesn't totally define you. Your purpose is what defines you, not your past. So it's important for people to really, and just like you said in Romans, the earth knows exactly who we are. The earth, because Genesis chapter 2, verse 5 says, no shrub of the field had yet come upon the earth, and there was no rain that had come upon the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. There are two things that the earth needs so it can function at its best. It needs rain, R-A-I-N, from water, but it needs rain, R-E-I-G-N, from man. The earth knows that. The earth knows that it needs rain. Rain from water, rain from man. So when man is not stepping into his purpose and getting into a dominion of reigning, the earth is off kilter. The earth can't function the way it needs to, because the earth needs those two things. And ever since the beginning, the enemy has made sure that man stays ignorant of what he was supposed to do upon the earth. And he's deceived man and really deceived the identity of man. So man is not able to function the way he is designed to function in the earth. And we see the effects of that, because the earth is groaning, because it knows it needs man to take its place
And
back
rain.
in the earth the right way, and reign. Exactly. The earth
My
knows
God.
that. But unfortunately, the enemy has sadly, not giving him any credit, but one thing he has done, he has really deceived man for not taking his proper position in the earth. But we're getting
Wow.
there.
Wow. Thank you so much. So one last question that I'm going to ask. I promise you this is the last one, according to what we have planned. So we are working on our awards as an organization because we believe in appreciating, honoring people, also understanding that the landscape can be very difficult, and people having to manage themselves through difficulties. It's such a rigorous process sometimes, and a painful journey. So we are running with our awards as an organization to appreciate people, industry leaders, experts, entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, etc. So what's your take? What's your understanding with awards? Would there be any people that you feel befitting from Tennessee that we can also honor? It would be a privilege to honor people from the US.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, man, Precious. I have to really think on that. There are so many. Well, definitely, I can always say my beautiful bride, Lady Sylvia.
Mhm.
She is such just a beautiful person, and just really has a heart for women from all over the world. She is from India. She grew up in Ethiopia. Her parents were missionaries in Ethiopia.
Wow.
So that's where she spent most of her life. We met in college. And so I would definitely say my bride, Lady Sylvia, she has a purpose to help women all over the world to really understand their virtue, to understand their beauty, and understand their power of influence. So I would definitely say my bride, Lady Sylvia.
Oh, thank you. Wow, it's a good report to hear from a husband. It's very commendable, it's beautiful and admirable. Thank you, sir. So would you have anything to say concerning awards in general? What's your take? We are running with it, but we would want to hear your thoughts over it.
Well, I think so many times we spend a lot of time honoring somebody when they're dead. You know,
Mm,
at the funeral, we say, wow, this person was great. But unfortunately, guess what? They don't hear it. So I think honoring people when they are alive, Lady Precious, I think that is such a noble thing. Honoring women,
mhm,
um, letting them know that they are a major contributor to society. So I
mhm,
think it's beautiful. I think giving awards to people, letting them know that we appreciate you. We see the value that you bring to
mhm.
society in your life, in your career, in your business. I think it's a commendable thing. So I am totally in agreement. Anything that you can do to let people see that you value them, you appreciate them in any form, um, I think is warranted.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So would you have any parting words to people that are with us and that are still going to view, others that are viewing on YouTube? Would there be any parting words of encouragement that you can leave people with? And I think I
Well,
saw an Angie coming in just now. Just something that she can just grab now and run with. Your parting words.
well, again, Lady Precious, I want to thank you so much again for allowing me to share this platform with you. Lindy, Isabel, Pauline, Angie, thank you again so much. And all the listeners, I appreciate this opportunity, and I'm very passionate about what I believe in. And like I said before, when we're dealing with time, don't waste time. All right. Don't continue to give excuses of where and why things are like you have in your life. You determine the way God created you. You have a voice, you have power, and you have a purpose. So it's important that you take the time to activate those things. So I want to encourage you that the best is yet to come. Despite what you see, when you live by purpose, Precious, you are aware of what you see, but you live by what you believe. Let me say that again. When you live in purpose, when you live in the kingdom, you are aware of what you see, but you live by what you believe. So the belief is more powerful than actual sight. So you can be aware of what you see, but live by what you believe. So spend more time writing down what you believe versus constantly being distracted by what you see.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Say. I think for me, this was such a noble masterclass. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot just hearing you say a lot of things around purpose. And I think this is going to help me. I'm going to apply this personally. And I also encourage the ladies that have attended to just also run with it, take what you can and implement it as much as you can. I would like to honor you, Say, for just being here with us for this hour. We don't take it lightly. We are so grateful. We are humbled that you'd still grace us so early in the US, I know. Thank you so much. May God continue to bless you, increase you, multiply you, give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. To our guests, thank you so much, ladies, for being with us this evening. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to just make this a masterclass. I am so grateful. I am grateful. And then to the people that are still going to watch, thank you so much. Thank you to the ones that are watching now. We are very grateful. I pray that you continue to be blessed, you continue to be safe, and you continue to reign, because the earth is in need of us to reign in our purpose. Thank you so much, everybody. It was lovely. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Pleasure, Lady Precious. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Precious. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc.